We are assembled to do the work of our people and an extension of your will upon our city. We are grateful for the blessings brought upon us, and we ask that you guide our actions, our thoughts, and our words tonight as we do the work that you have assigned us to. In your name, Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our meeting. Pledge. Hopefully everybody has either voted or is set to vote tomorrow, election day. We have at least one election judge in the room. Anyone else working the polls tomorrow? We thank everybody that is. It is easy in this county to vote, so I would encourage you select your candidate. Please go out and vote. They're projecting a 35% turnout. That is not acceptable in this county. So pick your candidates and go out and vote. Exercise your options. But again, thanks for those that are going to be up at dark o'clock. I saw some pictures of polling places, so they're ready for us. It should be an easy process in this community. With that, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll do a roll call.
Ballers.
Present.
Huddleston.
Here.
Job. Here. Lester. Here. Michael.
Here.
Mealy.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Spencer.
Here.
Spicer.
Present.
Jones. Present. Have a quorum.
Okay, this is item 3, adoption of the agenda, and then we've got a couple items to add. Councilman Howell.
Under unfinished business, I'd like to add a update on the Riverfront Market at the MSP, and as much as possible, an update on the planning and zoning code updates that were discussed in June planning and zoning meeting work session.
You've heard the amendments. Other amendments? Any discussion?
Move to adopt the agenda as corrected.
All right, we got a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Did you want to say that we're changing the price on that insurance brokerage?
I think that will be done at the time we can. I think it'll be an amendment at that time. It's not really adding anything, but it'll be something. But it'll be called to your attention before you have to vote on it. So with that, with the amended agenda, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Takes us to miscellaneous agenda items. Item 4, and it is indeed a privilege. We have tried to recognize our students in the community. We've got a lot of athletes in here, but I was watching the debates, and that was quite a challenge. We've got a couple of the winners here, so I'm going to invite Towns Baker and Harrison Lane to come up to the podium. Maybe introduce yourself and make a few comments. First, congratulations. I mean, you guys knocked it out of the park. If you identify yourself and just tell us a little bit about what you went through, and then when we're done, I've got a certificate. I'll come around front. Council will get behind us and take a quick picture. But thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having us. I am Towns Baker. Me and my partner are both juniors in high school, go to Jefferson City, and I'm Harrison Lane. We travel a lot for speech and debate. We don't travel, it's usually east and west, so we go to Kansas City and St. Louis a lot to compete. But for our national tournaments, the one that we ended up winning was in Chicago, Illinois. That would have been our first time being there. There are certain tournaments where there are a lot of preliminary rounds that we have to get through to actually place at a tournament. But this one, there were roughly 8 rounds or so, and that's before any quarters, semis, and final rounds. So 8 prelims, and then was it doubled up that tournament, or was that NSCA? It was doubled up. So then it was 2 quarters, 2 semis, and then a final round. So we're looking at around 13 rounds overall, and that was done in one weekend. There were, I want to say, it was around 300 other duo teams competing at this tournament. And yeah, so there was a lot of competing. We saw a lot of other pieces.
80 hours of duo.
Yeah, it was like 80 something hours of duo alone. So we did it. We went through a lot that one tournament, but certainly glad we did. So it definitely ended up paying out, I guess. Because, I mean, seeing a lot of you like in person. I've been the past few days since we were invited up here, been kind of researching little things about a lot of you guys that are up here, and being able to be face to face is it's a really, really cool experience for me. Harrison came up here so nonchalant. I wish I could.
Did you get to defend your title next year?
We're gonna have to. Yeah. It's always hard. This sounds. Let me be a little more modest. I don't want to say it's hard getting a national championship, but it's hard getting the national championship earlier on in your high school career, because now look what you got to live up to. So that's the tough thing. That sets a precedent. Mm-hmm. A lot of speech and debate is kind of, if somebody wins finals at a certain tournament, especially nationals, where it's a lot more people, then you expect to see those same people over and over again because they're objectively good at it. So now that we've made it known that we're supposed to be good at our events, now we've got to keep that. We've got to keep that going, or else it's like, oh, they're a one-hit wonder, kind of whatever. All in all, we're gonna try our best to fill our own shoes.
You got a very important person with Coach. You want to come up and just say hi to everybody and.
So we attribute a lot of our respect to Hart.
These two boys are certainly quite a gift to our city and also our school. They both put an immense amount of work into their craft. And when we entered the tournament, I knew that they were going to be extremely competitive because of the amount of hours that they put into perfecting their piece. And so to me, it was well-deserved whenever they made it as far as they did. Because not only were they going against some schools that have triple the amount of funding that we get in our program, but these students also were doing a comedic performance rather than a dramatic performance. And dramatic performances tend to be more appealing to an audience. It's hard to, because drama is more of a universal language than comedy is. So for them to win with a comedic piece was quite the feat. And I'm really excited to be able to work with these two boys for another 2 more years. Because, yeah, they are right. Typically, it's juniors and seniors that end up winning the national championship. For them to accomplish that as sophomores is quite surreal. So I'm very proud of these two boys, for sure.
And yeah, for reference, that final round hosts 6 other teams, and we were the only comedic in that round. So that was kind of a scary feeling as well. No, but Hart likes to talk us up a big game, but at the end of the day, behind really anybody that does any activity is their coach, and that couldn't be more true for Hart. My first year doing speech and debate, I did an informative speech, and he rewrote it for me at least 2 times. He'd take me to tournaments when I probably shouldn't have been able to go. But a lot of those hours and a lot of that time was spent getting coaching from Hart. And I don't see a lot of dedication from many people like Hart has shown us.
I appreciate that.
And it's an absolute gift to have him teaching at this school. Are you teaching in English classes next year?
No, this is going into my 11th year at Jeff City High School, so it's crazy.
But he teaches all kinds of speech and debate classes. So many kids like come and go and always leave at least better public speakers or better people. It's kind of up in the air. But we are really lucky to have a person, a teacher like Jordan Hart at our school.
I would be remiss to not invite you all at the end of January. We host an annual competition, and it's extremely rewarding to see our young people talking about highly relevant political issues, social issues, and very highly intelligent. Like, I am hoping that my activity is the birth of future politicians who can, research issues and really rely on the facts, because that's what our high school kids are taught to do. And so I would encourage you all at the end of January, when we host, to come up and watch some of the debates that take place, some of the performances that take place, because it will certainly give you a bright hope for the future, for sure.
We've got a former councilwoman here. Were you involved in the early stages of the debates?
I don't think so.
Oh, I was thinking, I know they were looking for volunteers earlier on.
Yeah.
I was thinking that you
We could always
indicated
use judges, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Anyways, any comments from Councilman Spencer and then Councilman Allers?
Yeah, just a quick question. So when I run for re-election, maybe you guys can sit in my place and be my proxy. We both kind of look alike, so definitely some resemblance is very.
Honestly, we could just get in a trench coat, maybe.
Yeah, we could step in.
There you go. Thank you. Nice having you tonight.
Thank you. I just want to say congratulations, and just by coming up to the podium, how well spoken you are and how confident you have. A lot of people will get nervous speaking in front of people they didn't know and all that. You all come off as very confident and very well spoken and all that. And I just had one question. So did you get to choose the topic of comedy, or is that something that's in you? Because you're very funny naturally. Thank you. So, so is that something you chose, or is there a wide range of stuff that you could look at and go into? What made you decide the comedy side, and what was the topic of?
We have a very vast script library. It can go from things like the piece that we performed was cut from a movie that we had taken the transcript from. Hart spends an obscene amount of money on scripts that kids can choose from. And they range from all kinds of stuff. So there is a wide variety that we can choose from. We like to wean towards comedic.
Yeah.
But every single year thus far in our duo, we've had a little bit of sad at the end. So it doesn't have to be one or the other, but it usually is.
Yeah.
But we do have a very wide plethora of pieces to choose from.
And we could also perform any piece of published literature. So we have kind of a lot to choose from in regards. So like if Hart doesn't have one of the scripts that we're looking for, like we could do what we did and just print out the transcript of a movie and then perform that. And that's what we ended up doing.
So the movie they chose was called What We Do in the Shadows, and it's about, if you've ever seen the television show The Office, like a documentary crew follows around office people, imagine that but with vampires, and that's the movie that they ended up doing. It was hilarious. They did a great job with it.
Since we did choose a movie, our performance, whether it be one of the individual ones or a partnered one like ours, can only be 10 minutes. So since we chose a movie, we had to cut it down into 10 minutes and make it performable and make it completely cohesive so that we could get the point of the movie across and the plot as well. And so what we ended up doing was like reattributing some lines from some people to more important characters so that we didn't have to add a whole new person to the script, or something like that. So we did try our best to find a lot of creative ways around more of the movie's like fluff that we didn't really need. But yeah, it was kind of challenging, but paid off. So
yeah. You could see all kinds of stuff. We saw a piece, we saw these two girls perform Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe at the national tournament. That there's such a wide range of stuff to choose from. There's a South Park episode that was performed. It's all over the place.
It is.
It's so fun to see, like, what do these random people from Waco, Texas, what do they think of to perform, and how are they going to do it? What kind of blocking are they going to use? It's something new pretty much every time, and it's a very refreshing thing to be able to sit there and watch.
All in all, it allows you to be very expressive, regardless of what you choose. So.
I would like to say something. I'm sorry, were you calling?
Councilman Schwartz, and then we can go to
Okay.
Councilwoman.
Just going to say, if you ever want a cringe moment, go up to our state capitol and listen to some of the debate up there. They're not overly trained, as the mayor can attest to. It's a skill. I can say without a doubt, over 29 years, I could name on two hands the 10 best people that have debated. It's a challenging skill to have that knowledge and to be able to stand there and do it. I wish more people chose to do that and go down that path, but it truly is rewarding from my perspective, who probably couldn't do it very well, to watch the good ones. And I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Young and then Councilwoman Spicer.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say congratulations. I couldn't let this moment pass without saying that. And then I heard you all say that drama is usually the area that the winner comes from. So would you all consider switching up for next year?
We've talked about it.
We do. Harrison and I both compete in duo interp, which is the both of us, and then an individual event where it's just us performing. So historically, we've both done humorous interpretation, so we're standing there trying to be funny.
And that one you don't get an option. It is funny. So
I've decided next year to change over to the dramatic version, where you go up and give a dramatic monologue, and you're trying to get an emotion factor from that. But we've talked about it. I've brought up the idea of doing a dramatic duo piece with Harrison, but we've kind of decided that it's better for both of our personalities and how we interact to do something more based in comedy.
yeah, I think it's
They're
just,
both hilarious kids, so comedy is definitely
That's a natural.
their fit, especially as a duo.
gonna say just naturally we're a little more attuned to it. Towns and I kind of share a sense of humor too, so it's a lot easier to be like give suggestions to one another because it's like I was thinking the same thing. So yeah, so I think that's why we stick to it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's true.
Just wanted to say congratulations. Towns, this question's for you. Did your dad teach you everything you know?
Well, he certainly taught me how to stick to my guns when it comes to an idea that I have. And a lot of my theatrics kind of does come from, like I see Dad do like a silly voice at home, or like he's trying to make us, like the kids, laugh. And I think a lot of my voice work and my vocals come from that, musically and theatrically. But I do have quite a bit of that to attribute to my dad.
If anybody doesn't know, his dad's a very good singer.
All right, well, if you'll come up, I'll come around, we'll give you the certificate. You're welcome to continue to join us. Council, join behind us.
Too skinny.
You guys know? Congratulations. You're so blessed in this community to have so many great young people. So thanks for indulging us in that presentation, but I thought it was time well spent. Now we get the privilege of honoring another very important individual in our community, Mr. Hal Dooley. I think Ken Gullich, you and Hal are going to come up and you're going to say a few words, and we'll ask Hal Mr. Dooley to say a few words, and then got something on behalf of the group to present. So thanks for being here. If you just introduce yourself for our friends at home.
My name is Hal Dooley, and I'm the former chairman of the USS Jefferson City Submarine Committee. Current chairman is Ken Gullich, and I want to tell you a little bit about the USS Jefferson City. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Melody Green. A lot of you remember Melody Green. Her husband, Jerry Green, was a former city councilman. Back in the mid-90s, when Jefferson City was commissioned, she was the first mother of the ship, first chairman of this committee, and basically left and set the template for everything that we've done in the past. And I joined the committee probably 2 or 3 years after it was formed, became chairman about 14 years ago, and decided to step down this year. When I started out, I was sprinting, then I started running, then I started jogging, then I started walking. And then guys like Gulledge here show up and they're sprinting, see? I figured it's about time that I pass the reins on, and I'm glad I did, and he'll do a great job. But it's been a lot of fun, a lot of challengings. I know the USS Jefferson City was commissioned back in 1995, went into dry dock about 5 or 6 years ago for about 3 years, and then came back out again and repositioned out the island of Guam, and sort of the tip of the spear for the Pacific for our naval forces. The challenge of being the chairman of the committee and the naval state visits, which we specialize in, is trying to get them to come to Jefferson City. Now, the Virginia-class submarines are a snoop and poop type of submarine, and they're always out on mission, and when they go out on mission, it's dark. And there's nothing like the chairman of the Jefferson City trying to get a hold of the skipper or the chief of the boat, and they're out dark, and we don't have anybody to talk to. And this goes on maybe 2 or 3 months. So that's the challenge of trying to stay up. But they have been very good. I think they've been in, during my tenure, 4 times, maybe 5. They were just in last year. Had a great time. Ken did a good job of putting together the itinerary. I'd also have to mention that Marty Thruston, who is our chairman of the committee, she actually puts the agenda together and everything that we visit. They come and visit here before the city council. And then we hit just about anything we possibly can for about 4 or 5 days. And it's been a privilege to do that. And it's been a joy. It's been a pleasure for me to have served. And we are trying to put together a group to go out to Guam and check out just exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it for Jefferson City. If they can come to here, we can go out there. So don't be surprised if I come and talk to you about a little donation to get some of us to come out. But that's a different story. But I do want to say that I'm very proud of the USS Jefferson City. Been out on it twice. Been out on the USS Missouri twice, both submarines. And it's just amazing to see these young people. People from Jefferson City Senior High, people from Blair Oak, people from Eugene. 2 years away from high school graduation, working on a $2 billion submarine. And it's just amazing. I know we took Governor Parsons out to see USS Missouri a couple of years ago, and he was just deep. I've got a picture of him in a torpedo tube with a young Blair Oaks graduate, and he was a torpedo man. And to me, that's been one of the highlights of the career. When you get Missouri's governor, get out on his hands and knees and see what somebody's doing, that's something special. But that's what this means to me as USS Jefferson City, my involvement as the committee chairman for all these years. Of being able to relate to the Navy. I'm an old Vietnam Marine, so basically I shouldn't have anything to do with any of this. But at the same time, it's just been an honor. I love our military service. I love what our young people are doing. I'm gratified and somewhat comfortable that they will do what they need to do if the time ever comes, God forbid. But I got a feeling it's going to, and I think we'll be prepared. So I thank you for this, and I thank Ken for this recognition.
Anything you'd like to add?
My name's Ken Gulledge. I've been in Jefferson City now for about 4 years. When I first got here, I was told about the USS Jefferson City Submarine Committee. I'm 30 years retired Navy. I had never been on a submarine before, so they thought that would have been a good match. So I'm more of an air warfare, surface warfare. Submariners called me, what's that word, target. And so it's been a lot to understand still the world's greatest Navy to serve in, and I was really honored, and it's been a pleasure, and it's been almost one of the greatest achievements to become the chairman, and I hope I can keep up the good work that Hal did over the last 14 years for that, and showing the flag and showing what the world does with the United States Navy, and that is defend freedom every day around the world, one knot at a time.
Mr. Mayor, I have one anecdote I need to pass on. Early on, probably second or third visit that they made to Jefferson City, they had a young Chief Petty Officer by the name of Andy Leonard on that ship. And young Leonard came back after he got out to Jefferson City, and I worked for that man over there as one of our decorated police officers. And that's what it's all about. I mean, they were so enamored. Andy was, and he's raised his family here. And he's also vice chairman of the Jefferson City Committee now, and I'm happy for that. But we are marketing these guys when they're in town. And I got a feeling we got one or two. I know the chief of the boat was very interested in Jefferson City and coming back. And I'm hoping we can show him the same hospitality when he and his wife come back and look at Jefferson City, what he showed them when they came in for the namesake visit. So I just wanted to show you that. We got a couple keepers out of this so far.
Well, you were very polite to invite me to attend some of the events. They had a very aggressive schedule, so I made a few of them, but you kept them on the move.
Yes.
So next time they come out, we're going to focus more because the Navy, what the Navy wants to do, it's recruiting for them. So they need to be in front of high schoolers. They need to be in front of college kids, college young adults, college students, all the physics departments, because these guys are the #1 physics guys in the world. They depend on it every day, and get out and see and share and just wave the flag and because now you have to get like Hal was saying, you can't just take a 22-year-old young person and put them on a fleet if they don't have any type of intelligence, right? When I joined, I didn't really need a lot of intelligence, and I was lucky enough to get in. But then again, I was smart enough to stay for 30 years because I needed a job. And, and that's all I got.
Well, again, I do have a plaque, so I'm going to read it real quick, and then we'll call you up and we'll present it. But again, thanks for being here. It just says sincerely in appreciation of Hal Dooley for 14 years of faithful service as City of Jefferson, USS Jefferson City, SSN.
759.
Sorry. 759 Committee Chairperson. Thank you for your outstanding service.
Thank you.
How did you get Ken to sign up for the next 14 years? Be the chairman. Get the picture.
You doing it? We'll put him in the middle.
Yeah, put him.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want me to get in? You don't want me to come in tight? I don't really want to come in tight.
We're worried about the troublemakers behind us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Again, Mr. Dooley, thank you very much. Move to item 5, opportunity for public comment. We've got 3 signed up. Mr. Weekamp, you could identify yourself, just take your time.
Straight.
Is there a podium or not?
Yep. You got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Is there a mic
Back up.
somewhere?
The whole room's a microphone.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor, members of the council, Brian Weekamp. Probably a month or more ago, we lost our local taxi service, which ran 24/7, closed down for whatever reason. So we no longer have 24/7 taxi service here in town. We do have Uber and Lyft, which is great, a good service, but there are times when, even during the day, there's just not that many Uber and Lyft drivers out there. At times during the day, I've tried to get an Uber and Lyft, and there's just no drivers. So I've talked to both my council members, Mr. Neely and Mr. Lester, about this issue, not only for myself, but other people who don't drive for whatever reason,
who maybe work the late shift or go out for recreational reasons to movies, restaurants, or whatever, that there is a need for 24/7 taxi service of some kind here in town. I just wanted to bring that to your all's attention, that the service we had stopped, and right now we don't have round-the-clock service.
Okay, we appreciate you raising that. I know Councilman Lester has, I think, sent some information around as well, so we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Are there any questions before we leave?
All set right now, but again, calling attention to it. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right. Second person we had, Ms. Quigg.
I'm going to give you all a break and yield my time to the next speaker. I think my issue has been dealt with in some manner, so I'm going to yield to the next speaker.
All right, that leads us to Mr. Farr. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Identify yourself again for the folks at home.
My name's Bill Farr. I live at Third Ward. Bill, Tarika, and Scott are my council persons, do a great job. Recently, there was a news, ABC 17 did a show about our yard waste program. And in that, at the end of that, they interviewed a gentleman that was bragging, basically, for lack of a better term, on how he owned a lawn care service and utilized our citizens' yard waste program 4 or 5 times a week. And I'm sure he's not the only one. And I drove by there yesterday, and there is signage that said it's just for citizens only, not for businesses. However, being it unmanned, you're always going to have a bad element that's going to come in and take advantage of a situation. So my suggestion is that if you guys continue this program, which a lot of us would really appreciate that you would, keep their yards clean, keeps it out of the dumpsters. There's several good reasons for it. But look on maybe hiring a retired person or somebody to monitor during daylight hours, or maybe some set hours next year like they had at the previous site, to make sure people weren't illegally dumping there. My second thing is on the High Street Viaduct Bridge here. We hadn't heard much on that lately, and my son-in-law was riding his bike, who David knows very well, and a piece dropped within feet of hitting him. And I talked to some folks at MoDOT today that are bridge inspectors and friends of mine, and encouraged me to mention that tonight as I stood up to speak, that we'd like to find out where we're at on that. I know it's a huge undertaking financially, and hopefully you guys are working some things out with the county and the state to collectively get together to pay for the replacement or repair of that. But I mean, that's a major artery connector between east and west, and I can imagine that thing being shut down for a long period of time for figuring out where the money is going to come from. So I'm sure that you guys behind closed doors or committees have started working on the replacement or repair of that bridge, but we'd sure like to hear where that's going. And that's all my comments tonight.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Farr for coming and talking about the yard waste side. I wonder if staff could take a look at do some sort of cost analyses to determine if what we estimate may be dumped, I don't want to say illegally, but not by a resident, if that cumulatively would, be enough to put us in a position where that would basically not having to pay for that extra amount of waste would pay for a part-time or semi-full-time staffer to be there during the hours in which the landscape companies are going to come. I'm guessing there's certain hours that most landscape companies would come.
There's a lot of folks in my neighborhood and friends throughout the city that I would be happy to pay a fee base if it helps cover some of the expense to hire somebody just to monitor. I know who's watching the cameras and who complains, and you guys not look at those cameras unless there is a complaint. I know there's a camera there that's run on solar panel, but having somebody there, I had no problem paying a fee-based usage site.
Well, I appreciate you bringing it up. Staff has been made aware of it, and I think they're looking into it. Mr. Crane has been looking at it. It is something that needs resolved. I don't know what the solution is, but it has been called to the attention, and I think it'll probably go back to Public Works for discussion, but certainly they will be taking a look at it. Absolutely. I mean, we went through a lot last year to maintain it, so absolutely. But thanks for raising the issue. That is all that we had signed up for public comments. Item 6, public hearings, we do not have any. Item 7, appointments by the mayor, none for this meeting. Item 8, presentations from staff, consultants, and invited guests. Cultural Arts Master Plan, and I think you're going to lead us into the discussion. I think we've got someone online that is patiently waiting.
Yeah, Alex does. Thanks for having me. I'm Amy Schrader with JC Parks. I'm the Assistant Director of Arts and Outreach. Within the last few years, we've had a lot of growth and development as far as arts and culture goes within the department. That includes staffing, programming, our events, and most notably probably our Deborah Cooper Park with all of the art installations that we have down there. So we wanted to be intentional about how we go about planning for the future. We had great success with our park system master plan that was completed in 2018. So we wanted to kind of copy that platform and really address the arts and culture for the community. So then we engaged with Keene Independent in January of 2023, and Alex is the principal, and I'll let him take it from here and let you know how that process went and what came out of it.
Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We've kind of synthesized 150 pages or so down to 7 slides to keep it nice and short tonight, but certainly welcome any questions, so feel free to interrupt at any time. We've been at this for a while now. We were actually hired in January of 2023 to create this cultural arts master plan, and we were working with all of the great folks in the JC Parks Department. It was just a really good experience and had a lot of fun getting to kind of explore the community and get to know you all a little bit better. So Keene Independent Research, we're a national consulting firm. We have lots of different practice areas. I lead our arts and cultural practice, and we've done cultural plans like this in many different cities across the country. And we've actually done a fair amount of work in Missouri, so it was nice to get to do this. But again, so we started in 2023. We wrapped up in the spring of 24. And then we presented a draft cultural arts plan to the JC Parks Commission in May of 2024, and that's just sort of been leading up to get your all's approval of the plan, and so that it can become final. Our methodology, so we had robust and community engagement. That's a huge part of this. We really want to hear from your community. What do they have to say? We particularly kind of looked to engage with your arts and cultural community, of which you have many. It's a pretty impressive community for kind of all of the existing assets that you have. There's a really strong sort of performing arts culture in Jefferson City, and that was really exciting to kind of learn about. We had 350 responses to a community-wide survey. 43 stakeholders were engaged throughout the process. We had 45 participants at our public meetings. You can kind of see in the image there. We did all sorts of kind of interesting visioning exercises. I think that's the big ideas board up on those doors there with the sticky notes. And then we also had a study hotline and email of which we could sort of receive any sort of more private public comment at any time. We looked through all of your existing plans. One of the things we do in our work is an arts and cultural plan doesn't live on its own. It really lives among all of your existing planning efforts, of which you've had many. You've had lots of different plans that guide your city. And we looked through all those and sort of saw where we could connect a cultural arts plan to, and there's lots of insight in our plan as part of that. We also looked at benchmark cities. We actually asked your community, who do you think is a good benchmark city for Jeff City? And we looked at several of those, sort of looked at what are they doing well, what can we learn from them? And then we looked at your demographics and population trends. We always kind of think about are you going to grow into needing new kind of cultural arts infrastructure that you don't have right now? For example, a bigger city might build a large performing arts center or a large museum. And we looked at your population trends and tried to understand, okay, is this something that's underdeveloped or overdeveloped, or you're kind of in the right track? And generally we found that you were doing a lot of things really well. And just sort of our key findings, and this was all reinforced from the stakeholder engagement, the survey work, and then our sort of review of best practice, literature review, and everything else that we did. And we really do believe that the city has an important role to play in supporting the cultural arts. This is part of your economy. This is how you, keep your residents happy and engaged and feeling connected to their community. And, as we're sort of defining success, and this is something that we sort of reviewed with many different stakeholders. The things that kind of came to the top were the need to centralize communication. So you have lots of different really strong arts and cultural groups and players in the community, and it's important that they're all kind of working together and communicating, and that the community at large can find out what they're up to. We kind of talked about facilitating access, and then finally that sort of encouraging collaboration. How can we get everybody together, working together for sort of the betterment of cultural arts in Jeff City? And sort of as you take those sort of bigger priorities and break them down into categories, our recommendations were to centralize resources, enhance existing resources, really kind of develop placemaking, promote inclusivity and public safety, and plan for the future. So you sort of see this as some of the sort of the easy wins: centralizing resources, thinking about things like, a better sort of calendar for the community, making sure that resources are being allocated effectively, focusing on some of the great sort of public art and other sort of event and festival efforts that you all do really, really well. We were sort of looking at some of the great opportunities for public art in particular to help with public safety. We have a great appendix on that in the report. And then planning for the future, some of the assets that you may need to think about in the next 5, 10, 15 years that you don't necessarily have now or need to sort of reinvigorate. So for example, some of the things I already mentioned, we're recommending developing a citywide cultural arts event calendar, sort of unifying several different calendars that exist so your community can engage with all the different organizations. Promote a process for community use of the amphitheater. The amphitheater came up a lot in the work. Of course, it's a great asset. This is a great photo of just an amazing amount of folks enjoying an event there. But it's hard to get into that amphitheater as a community member, and that was something that came up in several different conversations where it's hey, I want to use that. How do I do that? How can I make that work? The foot district came up a lot in our work. How it already has some great public art installation. How can we continue to document and celebrate the foot district as one of your your amazing sort of historical communities where you had folks displaced, and there's a history there that wants to continue to be told. Approach the arts as a tool to support city safety initiatives. For example, public art on crosswalks actually is documented to reduce traffic fatalities and other kind of slow down traffic. There's lots of things that you can do with public art that help actually support your safety initiatives. And then continue to integrate the cultural arts into your city plans. I think one of the things we were really feeling when we were there was we were talking to all these, your amazing city staff and asking them about, okay, how do you think about the arts and culture as part of your job? And, there's some simple things like just public infrastructure having, painted interesting color or put a mural on it, or sometimes it's something actually fairly inexpensive with a piece of infrastructure that can really just sort of continue to enhance the community and particularly the aesthetic, and just sort of kind of create interesting things to look at. And we thought that the cultural arts could really be integrated throughout many of your city planning efforts. So I told you I'd distill it from 150 pages down to 7 slides, and we have done that. It is still in draft form, so of course, if you have any final bits of feedback or comment, we're ready to integrate that so that the plan can be adopted. And we do have contact information here for questions or feedback from the community. So with that, I will stop sharing and welcome any questions from council.
Questions or comments?
I'm sorry, I just rewrote version. It's not the final draft yet. Did he say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, the draft that we have available on our website is the final draft. It was approved by J.C. Parks Commission, I believe, the April or the May meeting.
I'm sorry, I've just heard a lot of.
Too.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. King, thank you very much for joining with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you very much. All right, item 8B, financial update and audit follow-up. Ms. Perry.
Mr. Mayor, the first piece of information that you have in your packet is sales tax revenues that were collected in the month of July. These would be for the receipt period of July, reporting period of May. For the general fund sales tax, the actual collections were $1,307,611. That is over the estimated budget by $94,590. So far, year to date, we have taken in $404,281 more than we had budgeted for the current fiscal year. For sales tax H, collections $632,387. That was $30,679 more than budgeted for the period. Overall collections are $89,916 more than budgeted for the current fiscal year. Park sales tax took in $632,387. That was $58,217 more than anticipated for the month, with total collections being $276,860 over the budget for the current fiscal year. And the last one is public safety tax. It took in $315,637, which was $14,538 over the budget for the period. That makes total collections $38,506 more than have been projected in the FY24 budget. The next 4 pages are breakouts, detailed information of the sales tax. So the next report we go to is the revenue model report. This report is through the end of June, and the over-projected collections are $1,380,686. In the yellow line for sales tax, you do see the $404,000 we talked about for the general fund sales tax. You can see that we have some issues with collections in the franchise and utility tax, and also in the charges for services. So if you go to the next pages, those categories correspond with that very first summary page. We've talked about telephone. Telephone is actually on target right now based on the modification that we made to the FY24 budget, but we are having some issues with the gas utility tax. We had a pretty mild winter, and these are typically attributed to weather. So I'm not sure we'll make that up, but we are going to keep an eye on it. And the other category is charges for services. So we are working on making sure that we get all of the chargebacks from central maintenance in there and accounted for. We are probably going to make some modifications for that in the FY25 budget. And then the last report is the fund balance report. This has not changed from the prior month when we saw it. We haven't done any supplementals. So right now, the estimated FY24 unassigned fund balance is $7,149,473 for a percentage of 18.82, which is over the 17% required. I'd be happy to answer any questions on those financial reports.
Questions from Ms. Perry?
The other thing I would like to address is we did finalize our FY23 financial reports and audit. We did send an email out to Mayor and Council to let you know that that document was on the website. We also would have sent to Council a document that they referred to as suggestions to management. There were 2 items within there, one of which addressed the fund balance of parks, and I had some questions about this. The information in that financial report is inaccurate. So they called out that parks was under the 10% fund balance requirement. That is an untrue statement. I've spoken to the auditors about it. Essentially, the parks minimum would have been $1,064,104, and Parks actually ended up with $3.4 million. So there's a 32.37% fund balance amount there. So that is something that I've had discussions with the auditors about, and have told them that I would be making this comment publicly, that that information is incorrect and inaccurate. I don't know if Parks Director Griffrath has any other comments to make there. We've worked on this to, I think, the point where he is satisfied with the resolution and with me making this statement to council that it was incorrect and that they do fall within the 10% fund balance requirement.
That is correct. I don't have anything to add. I do want to thank Sheila for working with me on this to work with the auditing company to ensure that this was an error, because it was brought to my attention. You know, it was alarming to me, but once again, I thank Sheila for assisting with the correction of their error.
Great, thanks. Any other questions, comments? Thank you very much. All right, takes us to item 9A, Resolution 2024-12.
A resolution supporting the CDBG-DR LIHTC application for Wildwood Canyon Senior Housing Development.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As stated, this is a resolution that approved would provide jurisdictional support for the developer of this project to essentially submit their applications to the city's CDBG-DR fund application process. That is the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program. The additional part of that is if the city reviews that project and does award it a letter of intent, they could then take that additional project and submit it to MHDC to apply for their low-income housing tax credit. So, which is a very desirable tax credit. These two programs work hand in hand. It allows us to really leverage our CDBG-DR funds to go along with the LIHTC project. There is I believe, a representative here that would like to speak a little bit and describe the project in a little more detail. I wanted to just give a little background on our program. The $7.3 million was allocated after the tornado disaster declaration. That was allocated from the Community Development Block Grant. Initially, $4.8 million of that was allocated for essentially multifamily projects. This project, along with the one the council did vote to support last week, the Moreau Valley Apartments, both of them would be submitting for that multifamily portion of the CDBG-DR funds. Last year, 2.2 approximately million was awarded to Stronghold Landing, which also falls in this group. The remaining portion of that, which was approximately, I think, 2.6, coupled with additional 2 million that's kind of remaining in the balance of that fund, does allow additional, basically, allotments for funding for probably 2 more projects coming out of the CDBG-DR, funding. So we're encouraged to have, I think, 2 applications this year. I think additional projects going to MHDC for the LIHTC awarding will only help, I think, the possibility of getting a project awarded. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I think the applicant does have a short presentation that he'd like to go through to kind of show a little more details about the project.
Well, first, thanks for your work on that. I know there were some questions that come up, so I appreciate you digging into that. I think that potentially gives us the opportunity for 3 very exciting projects in our community, all about equally funded, at least from the city's perspectives. Thank you very much. Know your face, but if you would introduce yourself, thanks for being here. We appreciate your commitment to the community.
Sure thing. Curtis Knightswonder. I work for farmer companies. We do these LIHTC deals out of a company called Mocap Development. We've done 10 of them across the state over the last 25 years. We've got one in construction right now in Washington, Missouri. We've got 2 that are built there, one in Lebanon, one in Liberty, and then we've got 5 in Jeff City. So I'm going to mess it up, the CDBG funds. I don't know how you said it so many times in a row without screwing it up. That piece we didn't, last year when we put our application in, we didn't get in front of you guys in time to include that in our application. It allows up to 10 more points in an application, which that's a lot. These deals, they score like on the high end, they're in the 140s, and on the low end, they're 120 or 110, and like the 10 points separates all the winners from the people that don't get the deals. Any given year, typically 120 applications are turned in, and MHDC funds about 25 plus or minus. So a third of the money goes to Kansas City, approximately a third of it goes to St. Louis, and a third of it goes to the outstate market, which we're not actually in the outstate market anymore. There's 4 markets, but there's about a third of the money in the state available for a deal in a community the size of Jeff City. So we are proposing, last year we were, when we turned this deal in, we were looking at coming in off of actually Wildwood Drive. This last year we've got, MoCap doesn't own it, but a couple of the owners in our company own basically the 80-acre tract between Diamonds and Lowe's. And we've kind of looked at potentially doing a housing development there. And our plan last year was, let's come in off Wildwood. We'll do the first phase along Wildwood. Then we'll do the second phase up against the rest of the property. And we took a look at it again this year, and we've done some more work on kind of a preliminary plat for the remainder of the development. And that's none of that is set in stone at all. But we thought, why don't we come in off of American Drive? It's probably an easier access into the site, and go ahead and do what we had shown as the phase 2 development, as the phase 1 development. So that's changed a little bit since last year. You can see it'd be a 3-story building. It's very similar to Chapel Hill property that it's the phase 2 of our Chapel Hill. We've got 3 developments over off of Scott Station and Chapel Hill Road. It's a 3-story building, and this one would be very similar to that one. That's just more of a close-up look of the project. That's just an elevation. It would look similar to that to some degree. We're proposing 50 units, all of them the same size. They're approximately 835 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, in-unit laundry. That's basically the same unit layout that we've got over at Chapel Hill Commons 2. That actually the project we're building right now in Washington, same building, same unit layout. That's just the floor plans. I made up here. Applications are due on September 18th, so we're going to be rushing to do that. I think the CDBG RFP, those are due on the 18th of August. We're working on getting that submitted. If you guys award some of those funds to us and give us a letter of intent, then we'll include that with our application. And like I explained earlier, you can get, depending on the percentage of the project of funds, you can get anywhere between 5, 7, or 10 points for a deal, and that's a big deal with an MHDC deal, LIHTC project. Rents will be between $400 to $900 a month. Property will have a community room, fitness center, computer center, an outdoor seating area. Has on-site management and at least a part-time on-site manager and at least a part-time on-site maintenance man. Sometimes we split management and maintenance personnel between 2 properties if we can. That's pretty much it. You guys have some questions?
Any questions? Councilman Miller?
Thank you, Larry. Thanks for being here and talking about the project. Appreciate it. This question may be more geared towards staff, but with the RFP closing on the 18th, and this on the agenda tonight for a vote, does that signal that any other bid on this RFP that we received would have a chance.
That's correct. So this would have been the last meeting that an interested party could have submitted a request for that resolution support from council. So in the intervening couple of weeks, we expect those proposals then to come in, since those are the two that have gotten or could, excuse me, I'm way too ahead of myself. Those would be the two applications we might expect to see.
Okay, so we don't expect more than 2 applications.
I don't think we've had any conversations with any other groups at this point.
And I think unlike a couple years ago, I think our staff has done a great job of trying to get these opportunities to council in advance. I mean, again, they respond to people that respond to them, but I mean, I think council has had a lot more time to have an opportunity to review this. I appreciate the work that's been done.
And I do too. I was just thinking about a typical RFP process where this body wouldn't generally bless something until the RFP's closed, but I understand staff has 2 interested parties, and interested parties for this type of activity don't just pop up, so I appreciate the information.
All right, seeing no other questions, did you have anything else, Mr. Smith?
Nope.
So one other thing, we're probably not just trying to, we'll need a resolution of support from, you guys provided one for us last year, and I don't know if that was clear.
Yeah, that's on the agenda. So.
Okay.
Councilman Spencer's about to make that motion.
Okay, perfect.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the resolution, vote on the resolution for support of the Wildwood Canyon project.
Second. I've got a motion and a second. You have resolution 2024-12 in front of you. Any other comments? Do a roll call vote on that.
Hollers,
Yes.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Jove,
Aye.
Lester,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Neely,
Aye.
Schwartz, Spencer,
Aye.
Spicer,
Aye.
Young. Resolution is adopted.
Congratulations. We look forward to an exciting next few months, and certainly in December when the big meeting comes out. But thank you very much for your commitment to the community. All right, that takes us to item 10, announcements by mayor, council, and staff. Councilman Allers, Administration Committee.
This Wednesday, 7:30 a.m., Boone Bancroft room across the hall.
All right. Councilman Schwartz, Finance.
August 22nd at 7:30, followed by a 5:30 budget meeting that evening.
Barry's got
Joy,
that.
joy.
You can't wait.
Is there food? Food.
You can wear your pajamas.
Pretzels, I heard.
Slim Fast.
Councilman Lyko, if you can come there, you're up. Public safety.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next meeting will be the 29th of August, beginning at 4 o'clock in the police training room.
And Public Works, Councilman Spencer.
We will be meeting this Thursday, August 8th at 7:30 here in the council chambers.
Other items? I think Ms. Schrader did announce we had a ribbon cutting down at Deborah Cooper Park. So, we got some pictures from there. It was kind of dodged the rain. It was a great opportunity. That's really all I had to. Councilman Schwartz.
Going back before I was interrupted, finance will be in Boone Bancroft and budget will be in here. FYI.
Is that before the food request? Now buckle up, we've got some budget meetings coming up, so we've got a lot of work to do. Appreciate all the work that's been done so far. All right, consent agenda, item 11. You have 5 items in front of you. Motion.
Move to pass.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 12A, 2024-20, we're under bills introduced.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, providing for the levy of city taxes and establishing the rate of taxation for the City of Missouri for the calendar year 2024.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. State statute requires that cities establish their property tax rates on an annual basis. The proposed FY25 budget has been prepared based on the property tax rate of 46 cents for the general fund and 0.0961 for the fireman's retirement rate, for a total rate of 0.5561. Public hearing will be at the August 19th council meeting. And just as a sidebar, that rate is the same rate that we currently have in FY24. That has not been changed for what the mayor will be presenting to council.
Any questions? All right, item B, 2024-021.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a grant agreement with MoDOT for public transit operating license.
Mr. Bangy, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this would be a bill that would authorize the approval of a grant from MoDOT for operating of our transit system. So the grant would be approximately $107,000 and would require a 50% match, which generally has come from the general fund. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, 2024-022, item C.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, vacating and discontinuing a sanitary sewer easement on the property addressed as 2333 Missouri Boulevard in the City of Jefferson, Missouri.
So this would be a bill that would relinquish a sanitary sewer easement along Missouri Boulevard. And the business of Raising Cane's is constructing a new building there. And the way they wanted to locate their building on the lot interfered with the existing sewer line. So they have moved the sewer line and dedicated a new easement. And so this easement is no longer necessary, and they asked the council to consider vacation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, item B, 2024-023.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Donaldson Construction Company, LLC, in the amount of $343,443.20 for the 2024 microsurfacing project.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this would be a contract that is part of our street maintenance program for our asphalt streets. There's kind of three legs to that stool, and so one of them is overlay, a microsurface, and a seal coat. And so this is the microsurface portion of that. There are about 15 streets in town that we would be applying this surface to. It's basically applied to a street to preserve its life. It's not quite ready for an overlay yet, and this surface treatment would allow us to gain additional life from that street. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, great job. No questions. Takes us to item E, 24-024.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a contract with Matching Company for the replacement of soffits at the John G. Christie Municipal Building located at 320 East McCarty Street.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this bill would authorize a contract that would allow the company to come in and essentially replace the soffits within the building. You have noticed, particularly along the east entrance, there is a deterioration within the materials that were originally installed. Essentially, drywall was used, and so that will be removed and replaced with aluminum material that should last a significant while longer than the existing material. The original project was budgeted for $85,000. The low bid did come in around $90,000. We'll identify the additional funding at a later date to cover that $5,000 amount. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Moving to item 2024-025, I would remind you there's a request for a check mark on this item.
An ordinance amending Article 14 of the Personnel Policy Manual regarding fair share giving leave.
Mr. Crane.
Thank you, Mayor. We are requesting a change in the Personnel Policy Manual to allow fair share giving for the United Way program. This will allow employees that pledge at least 1 hour of base pay per month to the United Way program, those sponsor organizations, to receive 8 hours of leave. And we're asking that this be approved so we can approve tonight, so we can start the Pace Setter campaign that's currently going on.
Questions? Councilman Allers?
I just want to speak briefly on it. When City Administrator Crane and Ms. Brown presented that to the Administration Committee meeting, I thought that was it sounded very, very, to get our, I'm losing track of words here because I'm probably hungry. It sounded like a better way to boost our giving to the United Way campaign. It was something I think we had done before the city administrator, and it seemed like I think everybody was enthused about it. And it's a maximum up to 8 hours. I don't, or yeah, up to maximum. It kind of, when you word it said 1 hour for 8 hours of time, but the max they could use it or lose it for 8 hours for the year. So I thought it was very well thought out. Good plan.
Do you have a request coming from the committee?
I'd like to move this and have a motion that we adopt this tonight so they can get started.
Second.
I would like to suspend the rules.
Any objection to suspending the rules?
No, I'm seconding.
Now you may make your motion. We're gonna have to read it again first.
An ordinance amending Article 14 of the Personnel Policy Manual regarding fair share giving leave.
If you'd like to lay this on the table, sir.
Yes, I would like the motion.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. You are looking at item 2024-025. Any other comments? Roll call vote.
Hazelton,
Aye.
Joe, Lester, Michael, Neely, Schwartz, Spencer, Spicer, Young, Pollard. Bill passes.
Excellent. 2024-026.
An ordinance approving a plan for an industrial development project for Unilever Manufacturing Incorporated, authorizing the city of Jefferson, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, Series 2024C, in a principal amount not to exceed $8 million, and its taxable industrial development revenue bonds, personal property, Series 2024C, in a principal amount not to exceed $14 million, to finance the costs of such project, authorizing and approving certain documents and authorizing certain other actions in connection with the issuance of the bonds.
Mr. Bowman, I know you have some friends in the audience as well. So.
Sure do.
How are you?
Very well, thank you, Mayor. So we have Mr. Holschneider, Ms. Bottom from JC Rep here, and also Mr. Whelan from Unilever to answer any particular questions, but I'm going to give my very best go to basics. So if approved, this bill would authorize the issuance of Chapter 100 industrial revenue bonds, the taxable type, which would facilitate tax abatement for an expansion project at the Unilever site. Specifically, it's for the construction of a new 8,600 square foot facility and tank farm to accommodate a new carboxylation production process. And it's occupying about a 1.8 acre portion of the company's existing facility on Truman Boulevard. This also includes the purchase of associated personal property. Total value would be $22 million. So that includes $8 million of real property improvements and $14 million of personal property purchases. The contemplated tax abatement is 75% of both the real and personal property taxes for a term of 10 years. There is a performance agreement that is attached to this tax abatement. Essentially, the company would need to create an additional 21 jobs on the site in order to do the full tax abatement proposed under this bill. So like I said, Mr. Whelan, Mr. Holtzschneider, Ms. Bono Might be able to answer any questions that I can't, but.
Councilman Schwartz.
I think all of us here have been elected to create jobs in this town, and with that in mind, I would like to move to suspend the rule and go ahead and pass this tonight.
There's an associated public hearing that has to join that, and so we actually cannot.
Good news, Mr. Moore.
I do appreciate the enthusiasm.
I must have missed the fine print.
Thank you. Mr. Holt. Right there. Councilman Mealy, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a comment on the bill summary for this and other similar bills. Would it be beneficial for the city and for us to make informed decisions that we see what the tax abatement number is? So the calculation of 10 years collection. And I mean, is that something that staff has considered putting on the summary?
So it is, so you can make projections.
Assumption.
There's some assumptions that have to be made. So the final product is never going to match reality. But I think that there is a process where we can make some assumptions and put the appropriate caveats to that, because ultimately it's up to the assessor, the values that he puts on those things that will then dictate what the tax abatement is. So we can certainly talk to bond counsel and our friends over at JC Rep and see if that's some reasonable projections to give to the city council, but of course attached to all the appropriate caveats that these are really nothing more than kind of best educated guesses on the values and the performance of those values over the long term.
Certainly. I'm not in any way opposed to the bill. I just think that, speaking for me, the assumptions might help me understand a little bit better how much tax we're looking at.
Mr. Whelan, you've been a great partner. Mr. Holtzmater, any comments that you want to make? Thanks for being here. Any other comments? So there will be a public hearing at the next meeting, and then it'll be on for third read. All right. Takes us to item 2024-027.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing a supplemental appropriation to the Jefferson City Police Department, amending the 2023-2024 annual budget, and authorizing the expenditure of such funds for training costs for police personnel.
Mr. Mayor, this bill's request for a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $25,112.30 to this year's current budget, and that would come from the drug forfeiture treasury funds and apply to our training line item to cover training for the rest of the school year. Answer any
Questions? All right, go to item 13A, 2024-016. These will be bills pending.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for transportation alternative program funds.
Mr. Bang, you're back.
Yes, thank you. So this bill would be the acceptance of a transportation alternatives grant for the construction of a side path along Bolivar Street from near Missouri Boulevard to West Main Street. The grant itself has a value of $327,000, $676.80, and was required a 20% match, which would be coming from sales tax H, the sidewalk funds category of the sales tax. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, you have 2024-016 in front of you for a roll call vote.
Joe?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Young?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Hamilton?
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, 2024-017.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a municipal agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission pertaining to the rehabilitation of the Bolivar Street Bridge over US Highway 50, job number J5P3523.
Mr. Bank?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this agreement is basically gives MoDOT permission to do various things on our right-of-way as they rehabilitate the Bolivar Street Bridge. So among those are their ability to close Bolivar Street while the bridge is being rehabilitated, and then to also have some access to our right-of-way for their construction work. So as I mentioned in the pre-meeting, this bill actually goes quite well with the previous bill, in that part of the rehabilitation will be the addition of a larger sidewalk on the eastern side of the bridge, which will correspond to the Greenway Trail side path that we're planning to build on Bolivar Street. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Seeing none, you have 20. I'm sorry, Councilman Lester.
Do we have any idea of time frame for this work to be done? I know a lot of work's going on.
I do believe that MoDOT intends to let this project in November, so I would assume that work would then begin sometime in the spring, but I don't know that for sure, but that's, I do know November is the letting date.
Okay, sooner the better. That's good.
All right, you had 2024-017 in front of you for roll call.
Lester?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Young?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Hazelton? Joe?
Aye.
Bill passes.
All right, nothing on informal resolution. Item 15A, you've already dealt with. The Wildwood Canyon Project, text is item 12, resolution 2024-13.
A resolution authorizing the city of Jefferson to apply for a 5310 grant for the purchase of 4 Handy Wheels cutaway buses.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this would allow staff to apply for a grant for as much as $450,000 for the purchase of Handy Wheels buses. The grant requires a 20% match, which would come from the transit category within sales tax H. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
What are the hours that Handy Wheels runs?
Handy Wheels, if I'm not mistaken, runs the same schedule as our regular bus routes, which would be is it 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening?
Councilman Spencer?
Yes, I would ask for us to approve the resolution.
We have a motion and a second on resolution 2024-13. Roll call vote.
Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Spicer?
Aye.
Young?
Aye.
Allers?
Aye.
Hazelton?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Resolution is adopted.
All right, resolution 2024-14.
A resolution authorizing an agreement with McGriff Insurance Services for employee benefits broker services.
Ms. Perry?
I wanted to make a motion that we amend it to the 39,000. Discussed previously, Mr. Mayor.
Don't have it on the table yet. We can put it on the table. You want to hear from Ms. Perry first, or?
Sorry, I didn't incorporate the.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Ms. Perry?
So the city recently solicited requests for proposals from employee benefits brokerage firms. 9 firms responded, and based on the selection committee, the recommendation was for an agreement with McGriff Insurance Services. McGriff is the broker for the city's property and liability insurance currently. The resolution does have fiscal information of $45,000. We did recently hear from them that they could reduce that to $39,500. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. This is for a 1-year agreement. I think it has additional extensions, correct?
Correct.
at the same amount.
Councilman Schwartz,
Yeah, I want to move to pass the resolution 2024-14.
is there a second to that?
Second that.
Councilman Hazelton, you'd like to amend that resolution?
Yes, to the $39,500 as we were corrected.
Is there a second to the amendment?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment? Do a roll call on the amendment.
Mealy?
Aye.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
No.
Spicer?
No.
Young?
Aye.
Allers?
No.
Hazelton?
Aye.
Job?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
The amendment is adopted.
All right, now you have amended resolution 2024-14 with the new amount in there, $39,500. Any other discussion on the resolution? Councilman Schwartz?
Yeah, just as the sponsor and as a member of the bid committee, I just want to say that the committee worked really hard on this. And in my opinion, we came down to 3 options at the end. With respect to the high cost that we're seeing in our healthcare, we could choose to not have healthcare, or we could choose to not cover certain drugs and things like that, but we all know that that's a non-starter, so that's not even a real option. So it comes down to 2 things. One, do we believe the status quo is the right thing to do? We haven't seen the ability to help with the large insurance laser we've seen. And so I believe our only option here is to look somewhere else and try something different. And that is the reason I'm bringing this before the body tonight, because we got to find a solution. We spent a long time the other day going through our budget, and I'm telling you folks that things are going to be tight next year, and I don't even want to see what happens the year following. So with that, I want to renew my motion to pass the resolution.
All right, we've got resolution 2024-14 as amended in front of you. Roll call vote.
Schwartz?
Aye.
Spencer?
No.
Spicer?
No.
Young?
Yes.
Allers?
No.
Hazelton?
Aye.
Job?
Aye.
Lester?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Mealy?
Aye.
Resolution is amended, is adopted.
Resolution 2024-15.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, adopting the CDBG 2024 to 2028 Consolidated Plan and authorizing its submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution, as stated, would adopt our 5-year consolidated plan. Just to kind of quick overview, the City of Jefferson is an entitlement community, so we are entitled to a certain amount of funding from the Housing and Urban Development Department with the passage of our 5-year consolidated plan, which is a prerequisite of that. So Ms. Ann Strotman in our Neighborhood Services Office is going to give you a quick overview of what's included in that plan, some of the programs that are identified, and provide a kind of an overview of what that entails. So with that, I'll turn it over to her.
Welcome. If you could just identify yourself for those at home.
Sure. Yes, Ann Strotman, Senior Neighborhood Services Specialist in the Neighborhood Services Division. And as Mr. Smith mentioned, I am here to present on the 2024 through 2028 Consolidated Plan. And he gave a really good overview, so I'm just going to kind of get into the more broad things of it, and including the budget for our 2024 annual plans. So we, of course, received funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the goals of the consolidated plan is to provide decent housing, create a suitable living environment, and expand economic opportunities. We also have national objectives that we must meet, and those include benefit to low and moderate income persons, eliminate slum and blight, and meet an urgent need, and that is basically threat to health and safety. And then these are the priority needs that we are going to be undertaking under our 2024 action plan, and they include our down payment assistance program, our emergency assistance repair program, public infrastructure, sidewalks, curb and gutter, demolition of dilapidated structures, historic preservation, that's mainly for the residential structures, tax foreclosure and acquisition, and historic preservation, tax foreclosure and acquisition are actually new programs that we are incorporating this year, as well as public services. And so the plan identifies what activities will be undertaken between January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025. And so the allocation for FY 2024 is $272,168. And so as you can see here, this is our program and budget. And what we have to do for administration, we take 20% off of the total allocation, and that is what we are able to spend, that $54,433. And then program delivery, that is basically time spent administering the projects. And our homebuyer assistance is, of course, that down payment assistance. That is one of our kind of main programs. Along with that, we have to do homebuyer education. The emergency assistance repair program, that is for exterior repairs, and the infrastructure projects, even though we put a dollar on that just kind of as a placeholder for this. Demolition, we're looking at $60,000 for 2 buildings. And then the public services, that is a 15% cap, and we are looking at $40,000. And we will, actually, I will start kind of working on the program and the guidelines for that, because I believe we'll have to do kind of like a call for projects and do some workshops and that type of thing. Tax foreclosure is another new one for this year, and that's $8,000. And then the community-based development organization and the community housing development organization also is a placeholder in there. And then for historic preservation, we put in that $32,116. And so again, you see our total allocation there is $272,168. And at this time, that is all that I have, so I can answer any questions you may have. Yes, sir.
Councilman Spencer.
Yes, thank you. Are these numbers kind of fluid?
They are, yes.
Around.
We can move them around, that is correct, yeah.
So you'll be getting back a program description and delivery as far as the public services, right?
Correct.
So that, because we really don't know what that.
That is correct, yes. And it wasn't in the current plan that we're under, the 5-year consolidated plan. It was in they did a public services in the previous plan. And I think with that one, Central Missouri Community Action, they asked for reimbursement for child care costs for families. So and there are a whole bunch of other types of activities that can be done under that public services activities. So again, this is something that I'm going to have to sit down and start doing program guidelines. And I know that we will have to do workshops, because they'll actually have to apply for this grant, basically. So
those potential dollars could be used for the issue that we dealt with a couple council meetings back on the Ameren, not Ameren, but the American Water hookup fee. Potentially those could be used for that, possibly?
I am not sure. I would have to look into that and let you know on that.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, I would like to move this resolution forward to be voted on tonight.
All right, we got a motion And a second on 2024-15. Roll call vote.
Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Young.
Aye.
Allers.
Aye.
Hazelton.
Aye.
Job.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Neely.
Aye.
Schwartz. Resolution is adopted.
All right, takes us to item 16, approval of the July 15th closed session minutes. We'll need a motion. So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. We'll do a roll call vote.
Spicer.
Aye.
Young. Allers.
Aye.
Hazelton.
Aye.
Job.
Aye.
Lester.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Neely. Schwartz. Spencer.
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
All right, no new business, unfinished business. Councilman Hamilton added 2, which were approved, so we'll go to the fourth one, update on the road market. Is that accurate? So I'll let you ask your question if I didn't get it complete.
Oh, my question was just what's the current progress on our MSP River Market project?
You want to comment, Mr. Crane?
Yeah, the RFP, or the RQ, sorry, for the engineering services related to that project just closed on August 1st. And I believe I heard 7 submitted, so staff will start the scoring process on that. And then that will be the contract that allows the next phase, which is actually the design and construction of the project.
All right, thank you. And then
Item B on planning and zoning changes.
yes, I wanted to ask Mr. Smith what progress has been made on our visions.
Yeah, so real quick, just kind of a brief background. So here a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago, staff held a work session with Planning and Zoning Commission to identify some identified components of our zoning code in the context of looking for efficiencies and ways to address anything within the code that we think may be impacting housing and development within the community, to make those processes easier, to make sure there's no unnecessary hurdles that are kind of impeding progress in that regard. So we brought together put together a package of potential amendments, presented that to the P&Z at that work session, just to get some feedback and some viewpoints on some of those, some of the kind of range the gamut from things that were fairly straightforward to things that are a little more complicated. Since that time, staff has been looking at narrowing down that list, bring back a smaller package for P&Z. So this Thursday, the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we should have a presentation on, I think, 5, maybe 6 potential text amendments that we're going to be recommending. Not sure if we're quite ready to have those voted on Thursday, but it'll be an update on the progress we've made, I think, on those. So a little bit more of the ones I think that we could accomplish in a shorter amount of time. Some of the other ones, while worthwhile, might take a little additional research and thought before we bring those back to planning and zoning. So that's current status.
Thank you for the update.
Councilman Schwartz.
With a motion to adjourn the public session and move to closed session.
You need to ask our clerk to read our statement. Entertain your.
Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn the public session and pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes in Missouri for a closed session to discuss attorney-client privilege, subsection 1, contract negotiations, subsection 12, personnel, subsection 13.
Councilman Schwartz, I would be happy to entertain a motion.
In lieu of Ms. Wiseman leaving, I will entertain I will make a motion to adjourn the public session.
Thanks, sir. And Councilman Spicer, was that a second?
Yes, sir.
Do a roll call vote.
Young. Allers. Hazelton. Joe.
Aye.
Lester. Aye. Michael.
Aye.
Neely.
Aye.
Schwartz. Spencer.
Aye.
Spicer.
Aye.
Motion is approved.
There we go across the hall.